What's up, friends and foes? Welcome to Let's Get Nerdy. My name is Corey, and today I want to take you through every single comic book that I picked up at this year's Planet Comic Con in Kansas City. That's right, me and the world's finest co-host Wyatt took our trip to Kansas City to go to Planet Comic Con, and we had such a good time. We had plenty of stories to tell. If you want to hear those stories, we already have a video up talking about it. I'm sure I will have it somewhere linked on the screen, so please go check that out if you have the time. I'd really appreciate it. And I think you'll come away with some good laughs and a good time, because we had a good time. It was my first con in 10 years, and I can say assuredly that it will not be another 10 years before I go to another con, because I just had such a blast. It reminded me how much I love Comic-Con and the shenanigans you get up to with your friends when you go. So today I'm going to focus on everything I picked up at the Comic-Con. I pretty much only picked up comic books because I love digging through crates. If there's a long box or a short box, me and Wyatt hit it up that day, and I think I got a lot of really cool pieces. Some pieces I think are cooler for me than anybody else, but I'm really excited to talk about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start getting into it with the first thing that I got. That is the only thing that's not a comic book. Is I got this Batman animated series print. And I got it because it's signed by Paul Dini and Dan Reba, the writer and artist that worked on a bunch of those shows. I really wanted to get their signature. I didn't have anything for them to sign, so I picked up a print, and they were really nice guys. Of everybody I met that weekend, they were probably the nicest. I got to hear some party stories about them and Darwin Cook, who is one of my favorite creators. If you want to hear more about that, again, that's in the video with Wyatt. And yeah, I super love the print itself. I like how I love how simplistic it is. I'm a sucker for, a Batman silhouette, so that's why this was an instant pickup for me. And if you notice here, Dan Reba gave me a little remark, as they say, of Batman for no extra charge, too. It was something I was really psyched about, and if you can believe it, I have been drawing this on every single flat surface I can find since I got this signature. And a bit of story there. I didn't realize he had drawn this. I had no idea he drew this, so after I had spent 10 minutes talking to him and Paul Dini, as I walked away from the booth and met back up with Wyatt, I let out a little yelp because I was like, no way! And now, before I get into my comic books, I actually want to hear what you guys have picked up. I know this is kind of the season of cons. Planet Comic Con obviously just happened. I know MegaCon just happened. I know C2E2 just happened. I think Dragon Con's around this time. Again, it is convention season, and I know if you're watching this, you've probably been at a con and you've probably had some pretty cool pickups. So I want to hear about that down in the comments below. Please feel free to brag as much as you want, because what's the point of getting all this stuff if we're not going to brag to our fellow nerds about it? So starting off, this first section is all stuff that I got signed. So a lot of it I actually brought from home for my personal collection to get signed. Some of the stuff I did pick up there, starting with this Ultimate Spider-Man #1. This was something I picked up at the con, and a bit of a story here. I got it signed by Adam Kubert, and because I actually mistook Adam Kubert for Mark Bagley. It's a bit of an embarrassing story. In short, I didn't know what Mark Bagley looked like. It was a guy standing next to where Mark Bagley was all day, and I asked if I could get a signature real quick. And it turned out to be Adam Kubert. If you want to hear the full version, that is in the video with Wyatt as well. I think it's my best story from the con, so please check that out for sure. I did still get Mark Bagley's signature. I don't know how well you can see it. See that? Yeah, you should be able. Mark Bagley's signature. I opened it up to the credits page to have him sign, so he didn't see that I got a signature from the wrong person. Which he definitely thought was a bizarre move. He was like, you want me to sign on the credits? I was like, yeah. And I will also be honest, I then have since Googled the name Adam Kubert, and he absolutely is a legend. He's worked on a bunch of stuff that I've read and have loved. So yeah, it's kind of a really embarrassing moment for me if I'm being completely honest. But moving on from there, some of the other signatures I did pick up. I got Dan Jurgens to sign my Death of Superman. I asked him if he had signed, if there's another cover he's signed as much, and he has said uh, not even close, which makes sense. It's a sick cover. It's a classic story, so it makes sense. I also got. Also got Dan Mora's Justice League Unlimited sign. This is the other one of this section that I had to pick up at the con. I do have a Justice League Unlimited #1. I could not find it in time for Comic Con because my stuff was a little bit out of order, and so I had to pick this up there. I then, as soon as I got home and started reorganizing everything and was getting this stuff set up to go into their places, I found the #1. So, but now I have an unmarked one, and then I have one signed by Dan Mora. That one was a really cool experience just because it was technically after when he was supposed to be done signing for that day, but it was the last day I was going to be there, so I was like, can you sneak me in? And he was like, if you can wait 20 minutes, we can, we can get something done for you. And it was 5 minutes later, and he was really nice about it. And yeah, I got to tell him he draws my favorite Superman right now, which he does, just because, like, I don't know if there's like a singular aspect I can like glob onto as to why it's my favorite. I just think he kind of hits it as like it's a nice balance of everything, right? It's just, yeah, it's a really good Superman. Moving on from there, we got Dustin Nguyen signing both Robin and Batman Jason Todd #1 and 2. Kind of a smaller signature there, and then bigger signature there. Nice guy. Didn't have too much of an interaction, but he was also one of the few artists there that was like multitasking, and he was one of the few artists that were there like multitasking, drawing, people's like commissions as he was also signing. So he was probably more focused on that, and I understand that. The other one was this one, Chris Claremont. This was probably the signature I was most excited to get to. I got him to sign my X-Men #1. I know a lot of these are basic choices to have signed by the artists and the writers, but how do you have X-Men #1 in your collection and you don't get it signed by Chris Claremont? So really cool, really nice guy. I asked him if he has any Jim Shooter questions or any Jim Shooter stories, and he gave me a very quizzical look of like, why would you ask me that? And the answer was no, so that's fine. Or he said yes, but not for me, and I thought that was fine as well. And that's what I think of Chris Claremont after that. So after that apparent passive aggression towards Chris Claremont and his comic book, next up I got a couple signatures from Jason Aaron on his Absolute Superman comics. I got this one. I will be honest, this is the only signature that annoyed me a little bit because he did black on black, but that's fine. It's fine. I'll let it go. I won't hold it against him. And then, last to close out the signature, I got Jim Starlin's signature on Infinity Gauntlet #1, because, come on, it's a classic cover. I know it's George Perez's work, but still, classic cover, classic story. How could you not get it? I did ask him if he has any George Perez stories, and he just said no, because it turns out this was kind of at the start of the era where not everybody was working in the same office, and so they just never really actually met officially until like they were working conventions together, which I actually thought was pretty crazy, but still. And now we're going to move on to the actual comics that I bought and picked up at the convention. We're going to start with my Marvel section because there's a lot less Marvel stuff than there is DC stuff. I will give you that spoiler right now. When I went to this Comic-Con, I will tell you I had 3 white whales I was searching for specifically that, like, if I left with no other comic book but these 3, I was going to be very happy. And the first of which, I will point them out as we kind of go. The first of which is going to be this Ultimate Spider-Man #1. This is the Jonathan Hickman run, the one that just would have wrapped up recently. I had every issue of the Ultimate run except for a first printing of the #1, so I got this one. It's the $20.99 variant. I think it's a really cool cover, and it was surprisingly cheap. This was like only $50. I was actually expecting it to be more. And I got it on a really good deal with a bundle of different comic books that I'll kind of point out along the way. And the first one to point out that turns out was not one of my white whales, but very quickly turned into one that I was very proud of and has started a new run of comic books for me. That's Immortal Hulk #1, right there. Boom. If you've read it, obviously it's one of the greatest runs of a Hulk book ever. And Alex Ross is probably my favorite comic book artist of all time, if not one of them. And yeah, so this kind of started, I guess I'm picking up every Alex Ross Immortal Hulk because I got this one. I also got #6 that day. On top of #6, I got 2 copies of 29. I got a copy of 28. I think I got #30 and #33. So, yes, for better or worse, I am now getting every Immortal Hulk that is drawn by Mr. Alex Ross. So I'm very excited to start that run. I'm really glad I picked those up. Again, kind of all got them in different bundles and got them all for different, like, really good deals. So I was really excited about that. One thing I found this Comic-Con, I really enjoyed the haggling part of it. I also found that my version of haggling is just buying a stack of comic books to see if I can get a deal on one of them. So, with that, getting into this one, Cable #1. This one was a little bit more of a nostalgic pick for me. A bit of background: me and Wyatt, we've been going to Comic-Con since different Comic-Cons since 2011, and my favorite part of them, when I was going as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, was digging in the dollar bins, right? Because I was sent with $20 to spend, and so I had to make the most of it, and the most of it was in those dollar bins that was chock full of these early to mid 90s comic books, a lot of just nothing #1s, a lot of weird X-Men books, a lot of weird Robin books, which you'll see in a second. And so that's why I really picked this up, just because it reminded me of that time in a weird nostalgic way. And it's just a cool cover, classic 90s cover there, Cable #1. These next couple, I am pretty surprised and extremely excited to have picked up. House of M #1 and Fantastic Four #1. This is Dan Slott's run when they came back, and I had a lot I was surprised by how I guess inexpensive this was, like in a dollar bin. The House of M #1, which I realized it's like not the most valuable book, but I would expect it to be one of those books that vendors would try to maybe overinflate the value of, if I'm being honest. So that was everything I got from Marvel. Moving on from there, everything from here on out is going to be all DC. And right off the bat, we're getting into #2 of my 3 white whales right here. This is Wonder Woman #1. It's Tom King's first Wonder Woman. It is one of my favorite ongoing series right now. I started the series with issue 8 and have been reading it since, and I've actually managed to backfill all the way to 2, and this was the only one I was missing. So I was really excited to pick this up. This was the second of the 3 white whales I managed to find the weekend. Ultimate Spider-Man was #1. I picked that up like three-quarters through the day, kind of when I started to be like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to find what I'm looking for. Like, I had gone to the different booths to ask, hey, do you have Wonder Woman #1? Do you have Ultimate Spider-Man #1? Do you have the third comic book we'll get to? And people were just like, no, we don't. Until I found the Ultimate Spider-Man #1. That gave me the hope of like, all right, I got one of them. Let's do the hit. Let's complete the hat trick. And at the end of day 1, I managed to find this cover. Yeah, first printing, Ultimate Spider-Man, Wonder Woman #1, Tom King. Love the run, and glad I can get that #1 to hopefully complete the set there. On top of that, this was not a white whale, but it was something that I was mindful of. This was the only Absolute #1 that I had not picked up. So Absolute Martian Manhunter #1. Glad to have that in my collection now. So now I have every #1 of the Absolute run so far. Obviously, I know the Green Arrow and Catwoman series are about to come out. I have those on my pull list. Don't worry. And to wrap up this first section of DC here, Action Comics, I believe this, yeah, 592. It's just a random issue with Big Barda on the cover. You'll come to find that Big Barda and Mr. Miracle are things that are two characters that I'm really fond of and really big fans of. And so I saw this cover, you know, John Byrne, Big Barda, Superman, 80s goodness. How could you not pick that up, right? And then finally, to finish this one out, Action Comics. And to finish out this part of the rack, Action Comics #1, Grant Morrison, New 52, really cool stuff here. It was again, this was kind of in one of the dollar bins. Was really excited to pick it up. My only complaint is whoever packaged it, I think ran out of regular tape because they did like this thick. I don't know if you can see it, this thick stripe of packing tape, so it makes it impossible to open the comic. So I'm gonna have to get a new bag and board for it. But I mean, another run that I might be excited to start if I can. And to start wrapping up this top level, because there are more comic books down here to talk about, but on the top level, we got a bunch of, this is all of the Batman stuff, right? And by Batman, there's a couple Batman things with mostly Robin and Nightwing. So right up here, I mentioned previously about being a big fan of the dollar bins back in the day, and kind of that's where I would get most of my comic books, and that is actually why I picked these up. This is Robin to the Joker's Wild, I think the second Tim Drake solo miniseries that he would have gotten. I picked this up because I picked up a bunch of these back in the day, right? I have a #1 for this. I think I have 2 #1s for this, and then I think I have a couple other from his other series, including right here, Robin 3, Cry for the Huntress. I have like, I think 1, 3, and 4. So that just leaves 5 and 6, if I believe. Was really excited to pick those up. I love Tim Drake. I love Robin stories specifically, and so anything I can pick up that centers around both of those things, I am very excited. And now to get into these are the only two Batman things I picked up that are not just Batman related but have Batman in them. Is right here, Batman: Death of the Family. I will let you know this was the only thing that I a little bit regret buying. Not because I don't want this, it's because I kind of bought it as a reaction because I thought it was just the issue that Jason Todd died in. So I was really stoked to have that in my collection, and they only had it for $20, and I was like, for the issue that killed Jason Todd, that is a really good deal. Okay, let me pick that up. And it wasn't until I got in and kind of put everything here in my spinner rack that I realized it's all 4 collector's issues. It's a trade paperback. It's a graphic novel. It is not the issue. So again, it's $20, so it's not a big deal, but it's just one of those things of like, I can think of what I would have rather spent that $20 on. Maybe 20 more comics from the dollar bins would have been a little bit more fruitful for me, but still, it's a cool cover. It's a classic story to have in your collection in some shape or form, so I can't be too mad at it. And then just this Batman 667. It's a classic Nightfall era detective comics. Super 90s goodness on this cover, just a big beefy Azrael Batman. That's pretty much why I picked it up. I liked the cover. Nothing deeper than that. I liked just the cover. And so now to wrap up the top level, this is going to be White Whale of #3. This was right here, Nightwing 78. This is Tom Taylor's first Nightwing run. This is my favorite run of Nightwing. This is my favorite run of Nightwing, and I have a lot of the later issues in the run because that's kind of, I jumped in the middle of it. And so now I am starting to backfill it as much as I can, starting with this one. This was the last White Whale I picked up, and this was the last comic I actually picked up at the convention. It was literally like 6:30, 6:45. The Comic-Con closed at 7. It was my last day. I was only going to go there Friday and Saturday. And I was like, I'm going to make one last push to see if I can find this comic book. And me and Wyatt had hit up this one booth it was the first booth we hit up, and I bought stuff at. And then I was like, hey, they're the ones that are still open. I'm going to check those boxes out. And literally, I managed to pull this, and a run of other comic books we're actually going to get into in one bundle, and I managed to. He had this at I think $20. I managed to get him to come down to 10 to buy with the bundle that I picked up. That we'll see in a little bit here. So Nightwing 78 was really cool. Was really excited to get this because again it was my last White Whale of the weekend. It was the last pickup of the weekend, and then Nightwing 81 first appearance of Heartless. It was just kind of a cool thing to pick up along with it. And with that, that is everything on the top level. However, it is not everything I picked up. And that is everything on the top level up here. However, that is not everything I picked up. With that, you and I will have to get in a more comfortable position. See you there. Alright, friends and foes, now we are back down on the ground with me, you, and my dog staring at me off camera here. Oh, she's gonna come on a little bit. She's gonna come on camera a little bit there, but oh, she's gonna take her monkey and go. And with that, the first run of comic books that I picked up on this lower half here is all Green Lantern stuff, and I will tell you, I picked up more Green Lantern than anything this weekend. Which is not surprising if you know me, if you've heard me talk about it before. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, particularly that Geoff Johns era from Rebirth to Blackest Night is the run of comic books that made me obsessed with comic books. And so with that, I try to pick up anything from that era if I can, and that's mostly what I got here. Obviously, number one, Dawn of DC, not the Geoff Johns era, but a pretty solid number one to have. A good run of Hal Jordan and Green Lantern, I think. Green Lantern number 0, Simon Baz, New 52, and then from here on out, the only non-Geoff Johns era thing I got was this Green Lantern, Emerald Twilight, number 3. It is the first meeting of Kyle Rayner and Parallax, or Hal Jordan as Parallax, so that was a pretty cool one to pick up. I managed to pick it up in the same bundle as the Immortal Hulk and the Ultimate Spider-Man up above, along with one other comic book. So it was really cool picking up from there. Green Lantern, Sinestro Corps, War, Parallax. We got Parallax number 1, The Fall of Kyle Rayner. This was the first one that I actually did not recognize this comic book. I don't know if I've read it or not. If I have, it's been part of some collected edition. I was not aware that there was just a straight up Parallax run of comic books. Again, it's a number 1 first issue. I kind of have a suspicion it's the only one, if not like maybe one of 2. But that was a really cool pickup there. Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern, Sinestro Corps War, and then I think this is pre-Sinestro Corps War there. We got from there a bunch of Peter Tomasi's Green Lantern Corps. I believe this is kind of one of the first post-Sinestro Corps War stories. I love this. It's important to note, I love this run just as much as I love the Geoff Johns run. I love the building up of the friendship between Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner. And plus some of the coolest covers ever right here. Kilowog holding all these rings. A lot of preludes to Blackest Night. Hal Jordan, Orange Lantern cover. Classic stuff right here. All cool stuff. Very excited to have it. And to round out the Green Lantern goodness here that we got, it is Blackest Night number 2, number 1, more Green Lantern Corps. I believe this is stuff leading up to Sinestro Corps War. I think it's like kind of in that middle between Rebirth and Sinestro Corps War. So a bunch of Green Lantern stuff, a bunch of Geoff Johns era Green Lantern stuff. Very excited to pick that up. And now probably the last run of comics I picked up that I'm still very excited about, probably the run that I'm the most excited about if I'm being entirely honest, is right here, Tom King's Mr. Miracle. I managed to pick a bunch of these in different bundles and got some good deals on them, I like to think. I got 2, 3, 4 right here. Come on, there we go. 2, 3, 4, 6, and then 2 copies of 7 because I bought them on 2 different days and forgot which ones I had picked up. 2, 6, and 7. And then 9, 2 copies of 9, same reason. And then, 10, 11, 12 to finish out the run. The only 2 issues I am now missing are going to be number 5 and number 1. I'm very excited to pick this up. I mentioned the Jeff Johns Green Lantern Arrow Green Lantern being the thing that got me like obsessed with comic books on a whole other level. And I will say this is the run of comics. This is the graphic novel in particular that got me back into regularly reading comic books. So very awesome to have that in single issue format. Obviously, there's a couple holes. We said number 5, and I am missing this Mr. Miracle number 1. However, I do have a Mr. Miracle number 1. That's right. This is, as far as I can tell, a first printing copy edition of Jack Kirby's Mr. Miracle number 1. This was not one of the white whales. This was actually a part of the same bundle that I bought Ultimate Spider-Man Immortal Hulk number 1 and the Green Lantern that I mentioned just now. This was all part of that same bundle, and this is by far the one I was most excited for. I will let you know, it was priced at $65. I managed to get him to go down to $50, and yeah, this is easily the crown jewel of my collection now. I don't know if it's the most expensive comic book that I own or the most valuable, but it is certainly, I think, the one I have the most affection for. I love this comic book. I love this era of Jack Kirby. It's kind of an era that the older I grow and the more I learn about it, the more I feel an affection towards it. And so this is why I'm super excited to have this. It's a classic, incredible looking cover, classic Jack Kirby goodness. How can you hate it? And yeah, I'm super, super duper excited to own this. This is like, pretty much I made this whole video to be able to tell you guys I have a Mr. Miracle number 1. And yeah, my plan for this, honestly, is I don't know if I'll ever get it graded, but I do know for sure my plan right now is I bought a box of gloves. I'm going to read it once and then put it away in a dark, dimly lit, coolly kept closet so that it stays as, I don't know if you'd say pristine. There is some like on the cover, there's some little nicks on the spine, but I think it still looks really good. I haven't looked on the inside of it, so I can't really attest to that. Hopefully there's nothing too crazy, but as long as the cover looks good, how can you be mad about that? And that is absolutely everything I picked up at this year's Planet Comic Con. Again, I have some of my favorite pickups I ever got from this Comic Con. Number 1 right here. I'm still gushing about this. I can confidently say, since I've picked up this comic book, there's actually not a day I have not thought about the idea that I got this comic book. Kind of cheesy, kind of corny, I know, but just super exciting stuff. Hi, Ripley. You want to come in camera? You're already in. Okay. Hi. I love you. So like I said before, go ahead, comment down below if you've had any really cool pickups like Mr. Miracle number 1, like any of the Green Lantern stuff. If you have anything that is either personal to you or you just think is a really cool, really valuable pickup, please, I would love to hear about it. Comment down below. And then if you want to hear about any of the stories about some of these pickups, about the people we met, about the signature we got, please check out that video. And please hit that like and subscribe button. We got a lot of please hit that like and subscribe button. We got a lot of really good comic booky stuff coming your way. And yeah, until next time, you guys be good. And I got to get back to nerding out about all my new comic books. Thank you.